Joining us now is the Army Colonel, retired Army Colonel Eugene Vindman. He's the representative-elect for Virginia's 7th Congressional District. Congressman-elect, Colonel, congratulations, first of all. This was a hard-fought victory for you. Bittersweet, but you are going to be a U.S. Congressman, and your work is cut out for you.
Thank you, Ali. This is my first appearance since election night, and I'm glad it's on your show. It's been quite the week, and look, my position is that this is still the greatest country on earth. Where else can you come as a refugee from the Soviet Union?
Yep.
And after decades of hard work and education and military service, be elected to Congress? Very few places around the world will give you this kind of opportunity. So there are bright spots, even in dark days.
There are, yes, and that is the attitude that I think we all need right now. We need to see what this fight looks like for the next few years and who the fighters are going to be, and you're going to be one of them. Your brother, your twin brother, and our good friend Alex wrote a book after the impeachment occurred, and he talked about the title of the book is "Here Right Matters," a letter that he wrote to your father to say this is America. Right matters here, unlike where we came from. That notion has been challenged this week.
Look, you know, this week, maybe that notion is a little bit more ambiguous than it was 5 years ago. Even back then, that was during the height of the impeachment. We know that just a few months afterwards, the former president was acquitted by the Senate. So, you know, right does matter, but is it an even path? Are there not? There are always steps back as we move forward, and I'm an optimist. You know, you can't be an immigrant coming to this country and achieving what my brother and our family has achieved without being an optimist. Like our dad, who came here as a 47-year-old middle-aged man. I come from a family of optimists, and I remain optimistic. But we do have our work cut out for us, undoubtedly. The 51% of the people in this district that elected me expect me to do work, just like the 49% of the people that didn't elect me. And so we need to achieve results for this district, and I will look to work in a bipartisan manner where I can, and I will look to defend the rights and freedoms of Americans and the principles on which this country is founded when I need to.
You and I talked several times about Project 2025, and I would often get tweets from people to say, you know, you're making this up. Donald Trump says it's got nothing to do with him. And of course, the ink wasn't dry on the election results. And it turns out that, in fact, Project 2025 does have a lot to do with Donald Trump. And they're going to implement a lot of those things, including a call to replace up to 50,000 civil servants if they don't pass some sort of loyalty smell test to that document and Donald Trump's principles. A fealty test, really, to the president, not to the Constitution. Many of your constituents are those people. They are federal civil servants.
They are. And frankly, that's one of the major factors that made a difference in this election. We talked about Project 2025 pretty extensively, this idea of politicizing the federal civil service. And it made an impact. Tens of thousands, like you said, of federal civil servants, they voted for their interest. And in Virginia, frankly, we had a bright spot. I think Virginia is a great model. We had a really, really tough election. We were able to withstand a wave in Virginia, here in the 7th and across the state. And the work that we did here is a great model of the work that we need to do to talk to people that necessarily don't believe that we are looking out for their best interests and going out to those places where people don't expect to see us, like, you know, the Culpeper Rodeo where I went, or to NASCAR events, to mosques and synagogues and churches. We have to go out and meet voters where they're at. We have to talk about the issues that they care about. And that's how we won in the 7th Congressional District. That's how you win in tough districts and in Virginia. And that's how we need to make our case, what we need to talk about going forward.
Colonel, let's talk about world leaders who are looking at this election. Many in Europe are very worried. Vladimir Putin is not all that worried. Things have turned for him. We have to look at Ukraine for a moment. I know it's not the top of people's agenda, but you heard that response that Donald Trump gave in the debate, where he said, you know, they need to turn toward Europe. Well, Europe's in this match, just like everybody else is. There is growing dogma within the Republican Party that America should not be supporting Ukraine in its fight against Russia.
That's true. And this has been sort of a chorus for the better part of a year. Support for Ukraine, which was bipartisan when the war started to erode this year during an election year. We have Elon Musk on the phone call with Zelensky and the once former and future president. You know, it's a worrying development, worrying scenario. I think Vladimir Putin right now and the Russians are cheering, our adversaries are cheering. We just have to do everything we can as leaders in Congress, certainly a co-equal branch, to make sure that we fight for those interests that we hold dear, supporting our friends and allies overseas. And the Europeans are undoubtedly going to have to step up. So that's where we find ourselves. Elections have consequences, and there are going to be some pretty dire consequences from this election. And
there are, and people will feel them over time. What do you tell those people who did find your particular victory bittersweet? You won in your district, and a lot of people in this country are surprised. Some are despondent. Some are exhausted. I know when I tweeted that you're on with me tonight, some people, I think in the best way, said, I'm just not watching. I'm not watching TV. I'm not watching the news. I need to get out of this. What do you tell people? We don't know where we are in this battle. Tuesday was tough, but we don't know where we are, and you can't really give up.
Look, we've had dark days. We've had tough times in this country in the past, and we've weathered them. And so, as I said, I'm an optimist. I think that we have our work cut out for us over the next years. And I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be working hard and working with my friends and allies, and I'm going to be looking for bipartisan solutions where we can find them, and then I'm going to stand for our values and for what this country stands for over the next few years. And I know there are others out there with me, and so we have to keep our morale up and continue to work.
Colonel Vindman, you and I have gotten to know each other over the years in different places. You are brave, you are strong, and it helps me feel a little better about it. Congratulations on your victory, the Congressman-elect Eugene Vindman. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Ali.